so my neighbors we just found out this morning that they are both have been deathly ill with COVID.
Oh, no.
Living the good fat life with your host Karen and Sherri. They'll help everything align for your body, soul, and mind. The good fat life, whether change comes slow or dramatically. The good fat life will help you sort things out organically.
Have you been sorting things out organically this week, Sherri?
Oh my gosh. Actually, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's just even just being here today, right? So you had some challenges.
Yeah, that did not make me happy. My water main broke in my neighborhood, of course, right on time while I have visitors in town.
Okay.
So, and I'm going to be on a podcast and be on camera today. So I'm going bedhead on the podcast today, but it's okay because I have a bonfire.
Great.
Thank you. I have a bonfire to go to. So I'm just calling it bonfire chic.
There you go.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I
And
love
you
it.
look beautiful. It looks like your water was on, and you look,
was
I
on.
love your outfit.
Well, it's called oh my gosh, I
Yeah.
got to get out the door in 2 minutes.
This is your 2 minutes, Sherri. I love it.
My 2 minutes. So, the new issue.
I know.
We've got the new issue, and I have to say, I think it's gorgeous.
It is. I don't think a lot of people realize what goes into the magazine, right?
I know, and it's kind of the funny. There's a picture of us, kind of like behind the scenes. It was just off the cuff, and it's like we were in our scrubs and trying to stay out of the way
and trying to stay warm.
Trying to stay warm because it was cold and the rain was coming and all that goes with it. And so there we are.
Yeah. So I really like this issue the most, and we say that pretty much every
time.
issue. But it's we do tons. I mean, you are a planner. I'm more a fly by the seat of my pants, but you plan a lot, and I plan some. But this cover, we weren't really sure what we wanted to do, but this is my favorite cover, and you know why? Because we put our stuff together from years and years, stuff I had from my family, from your family, and we put it together. And
we have stuff from both of our grandmothers.
From both of our grandmothers, yeah.
And Alex just did a beautiful job.
A local photographer.
Portraits by Alex. Yes, he did a great job. And I don't know, it was one of those things where it comes back to we're really learning. I think the whole magazine has been around trusting that voice inside that says, just do this, because it's like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
But just do it. And so we just went back and forth, and the weather kept not cooperating, and one thing after another. And it was just like, but we both had that sense like it's going to be okay.
Right. And I just knew if I just threw some stuff together, you threw some stuff together, we would make it work. And it turned out to be beautiful.
And we trust Alex, right?
We trust Alex and Bella, his lovely assistant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but the other part of this issue is each article, and I think we should go through. Let's just go through it.
Yeah.
So let's go through it a little bit, Karen.
Yeah.
Each article in there, I'm finding, as we did our review kind of last week of the journey, right? I'm finding that so much of my life has changed in little subtle ways that I didn't realize because of the people we've met through the magazine, right? So they've shared pearls of wisdom and ideas and things on how to make our life easier or richer, or I don't know, just all kinds of good life better. But it's been organically.
Yeah. And it's the best part about it is that each individual that we've met, they're their own little microcosm of just interesting, cool, like they're out there doing it, right? It just makes me so happy. Like, I don't even know how we know this many cool people.
Right. Yeah. And it seems like they just keep showing up.
Yeah.
So we're just going to go through this a little bit. So Snetic Horse Cleaners, right? We've talked about how amazing Jim is and the work that they do over there and how they give back so much to the planet, right? When they clean their clothes. But he's so, he's such an expert on sustainability and clothing, and you just want to wear really good quality clothing when you talk to Jim.
Well, I'm living proof today because of Jim. He really solidified in me, 1, to buy heirloom fabrics, and 2, to buy from companies that make heirloom fabrics, and 3, to look at buying used clothing. So today, my whole outfit is actually from the Salvation Army. I have Patagonia jeans on,
Oh my
Patagonia,
gosh, okay.
yeah, which were like $15. And I have a J. Crew sweater on that's part wool, and I bought them from a thrift store, and I will have them dry cleaned. So there you go.
So there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
And also, I now have this service. So twice a week I get a text, do I have anything to pick up? And I have to tell you that it's like, it just is like calmed down a part of myself that knows that if I have 2 minutes to get out the door, I've got things ready to go.
Yep.
And it's self-care.
And it feels so loving and like someone's taking care of you and thinking of you, which is so nice. So thank you,
Right.
Signed a Course, for that. Yeah.
And then Good Fat Company.
Yeah.
They're now make bagels and carrot cake and dirt cake and peanut butter cookie cake.
Wow.
And it's all keto friendly.
Where can you find that, Sherri? Can you find it in stores? Tell people where we can get that.
goodfatcompany.com.
Okay.
And one of their favorite things that they make is a pumpkin good fat bar.
You know, that's a great gift for people to get, for people they don't know what to get for gifts.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're diabetic friendly, keto friendly, and they're delicious. And so, and I just love Terry Duperrin and who he is and the company. And so there's that.
Yeah.
And then we talked about Alex and his
Great photography. He's a local photographer. Yeah.
and book fairy.
That's so cute. Yeah.
So it's, and just kind of like going through to gather or not to gather.
Yeah, a lot of people are going through that right now for the holidays. What are they going to do? And
what are they going to do? And I don't know about you, but it's like, again, today we just heard of 2 very dear close people that have come down with COVID and they're really, really sick. So it's like, well, part of us is, we're wanting to get some gathering in normalcy. And I think we're all just hungry for that conversation. And there's still things to be concerned about.
Yeah, there certainly is. Yeah. There's a lot to consider.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, this holiday is only going to be, people are going to do what they feel is right, but then we'll only know the far-reaching effects later on in the future, right? We don't know. Right.
So we just have to be as mindful as possible, right? So, and then, so there's that.
Yeah.
And one of the things that, Lori talks about Lori Burns, who's a counselor, is that, it's being adaptable. It's right. How we have to be adaptable. And she's just spot on in what she has to say.
Yeah.
Start and end your meals with good fats. Now, what's not to like about that, right?
Yeah.
Right?
So I know how to begin your meal with a good fat, but how would you end your meal with a good fat?
Well, so Adam Lamb, who
was just on our podcast
right,
last
and
time.
he's a professional chef, and he is like, and we have some great discussion on good fats and bad fats, and like we said, I've noticed how much I've changed how I eat. I just now reach for the good stuff. The bad fats just really don't make it in my day unless I'm eating out.
Yeah.
Or I don't take the time to read a label. Sometimes the marketing is just so alluring.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people get proteins and fats mixed up. I know I always thinking I'm eating good fats, but it's really just a protein. It's not really good.
It.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I'm like, oh, chicken's a good fat, but really it's more of a protein. Yeah.
Right,
so
right.
So keep that in mind. Yeah.
So that's a really important thing to do. So it's easier to get good fats into the beginning of your meal because of a salad. Salads, and they generally, if you have an olive oil dressing or something on your salad, that's an easier way. But Adam gives some. It's a great article. I learned a ton, and but also he had some recipes for how to end your meal, right?
Yeah,
with some really good fat. So how to bookend it.
Yeah, and it looks like you can pretty much put avocado in anything sweet, and it will taste delicious. So,
it does. It gives a smooth and creamy taste, especially paired with chocolate, which is a great food to eat. It's full of antioxidants as long as you get the right chocolate, right? So, Pandemics, Gatherings, and In-Laws by Kathleen London. Now, this article, I loved this. And I thought what she brought to the table as far as how to orchestrate family gathering, that could be maybe some challenges. I just thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, and she like held like a modern day, like Shiva, really, but they're not Jewish, but in a way, she kind of held that for her family in that space, which is so beautiful.
But she set it up in a way that it will it's created traditions for years to come that that everybody's excited about.
Yeah, so beautiful. She's so thoughtful.
Yeah. So anyway, so I loved that, and it's like how can and I really have thought a lot about my next gatherings, whether it's family or just people, how to set it up so it has those real rich, nuanced qualities to it. Right. So now our 60-day happy challenge.
Yeah, tell us about that. How are we going to be challenged to be happy for 60 days?
So anyways, so you hear about the 75 hard, right?
Yeah, no, I don't want to do anything hard, let alone let alone 75.
Right, for 75 days.
Yeah.
And this thing is hard, but it really changes. The people who do it, swear by it, but it was hard. And so there's a lot of things in the 75 hard that were, a lot of it's time management, right? And so we talk so much about self-care, and the challenge shows you that if you put your mind to it, you can really be much more vigilant about your own self-care if you set your mind to do it, right? So it's just, but my girlfriend and I, Jennifer Huff, she's just brilliant and gorgeous and all of those things. So we're like, 75 hard? Who wants to do that?
No, not me.
Let's do 60-day happy.
Yes,
right?
Let's do that. Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do. We're going to kick it off on January 1st, 2022. Just getting closer by the minute. And it's going to be 60-day happy. And everything that's in it is all research-based. It's evidence-based on how we make changes, how you create new neural pathways in your head for behaviors. And it's just going to be a boatload of fun. I can hardly wait.
I know. I'm really excited about it because you really do need to create new neural pathways. Because I know when people ask me or I ask people, how was your day? It's almost 100% of the time you start with something negative. It's never like, oh, I was so excited. I had, it's like,
right.
Oh, well, we don't tend to start our day or our thoughts or what we talk to our friends about. We don't tend to start it with something happy and positive, unless it's like a really big thing.
Well, and something I read earlier this week was talking about the ego. And the ego gets a bad rap all the time, and lots of times it deserves it. But the other part of it is the ego was designed to keep us safe, right? So anything that's different than us is going to be ego, right? It's that voice.
Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah.
So okay, fine. So once you recognize that, you can say, okay, I'm safe and I'm happy, or that we have the reticular activator in our brain, and it's that thing that says, it's like when you say, okay, I want to make this change, or I want to do something different, or I want to buy a red car, right? Suddenly you notice all these red cars, right? Because you've engaged that part of your brain. Well, so part of the 60-day happy is, what if we said, I just want to celebrate at least one thing every day, right? So suddenly your brain goes, what am I going to celebrate today?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so what things am I going to celebrate? So it's just those kinds of things. But I have to tell you, I've been testing out the things that's going to be part of it. And it's been off the flippin' charts.
Can you give us an example? Like what?
Well, so the celebrate, right? So it's like, what one thing, so make celebrating a real thing. So, and in this instance, I'll just use an example, that you have to dance to one song to celebrate whatever it is you're celebrating.
All right.
So yesterday,
and you get to pick it.
You get to pick. You get to pick the song. You get to notice in your day what you want to celebrate. Well, actually, I had 3 things yesterday, and so I decided. Well, I just couldn't pick one. So, and then it's like, well, who said there just had to be one?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I picked I'm so excited, this song by the Pointer Sisters.
Yeah.
And just, put it on and just dance to celebrate it.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've noticed, I've only been doing this for like a week, but like I said, it went from 1 thing to 2 things. Yesterday there were 3, and there's probably already 6 today to celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
And it just is so interesting how how our brains work.
I know, isn't it? I've been taking the time to just notice, and it's almost like I feel like something's wrong. I'll go, I'm experiencing pure bliss right now. This is pure bliss. And I don't know, there's no rhyme or reason. I don't have a reason for it. I just feel pure bliss right now.
Right
and people are like, what's wrong? Nothing. Not absolutely nothing. I know.
Blissful.
So yeah.
Well, and then so that was another thing in my readings this morning. They were saying, really, all we have is right now, right? And we hear this over and over and over.
But it's always okay right now. It is always okay right now.
And if it isn't, and if it wasn't, there's 10 seconds from now.
Yeah.
Or a minute from now. Right. So, and it's just such a all we have is right now.
My friend said to me last week, and it totally resonated. I was like, yeah, I'm sad. And he goes, yeah, and in a few minutes you'll be hungry, and then you'll be whatever. You'll be, you know what I mean? It's so temporary, right? So we have to remind ourselves,
exactly.
right? And so the point is that joy and happiness, that's temporary too. But if we don't take a minute to acknowledge it, then it just seems like it's fleeting, that we never receive it. So I think it's important to understand that we are happy a lot of the times. We just glaze over it. So recognizing it too is important.
Or we keep projecting forward to the future or backward to the past, and all we have is right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So anyway, so I'm happy right now.
Yeah,
Karen,
I am happy right now. Yeah.
And so our November self-care, great tips on social, emotional, spiritual things, personal. I love this fall scavenger hunt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fun. Scavenger hunts are fun for everybody.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
anybody can do it. Yeah.
So there was just so many cool things in November self-care. And then
Dr. Adam, one of our
Adams,
favorites.
Yeah. And that spine, your spine is your superhero.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like I said I had the best conversation with Dr. Kelly from Hands on Health. And it just, and now when I noticed since that conversation, which was 2 weeks ago, that when I do my yoga, instead of I got to do my yoga.
Right.
It's like, oh my gosh, I get to wake up my spine. I get to use the 5 or 7 postures that really engage my spine. And how cool is that? Because my spine is my superhero.
I know. And when you look at people like Dr. Adam, who totally believe that and live it, you see that those literal spine juices are really working for him. You can see it in his skin, his attitude, everything. And it's like when you realize you have that in you too, the sky's the limit, right? You become like your own alchemist, you align your spine.
You do, and you do. And as I was reading through this article, I was like, oh my gosh, I've heard this stuff, and my office is a mess. I know better, and I'm not doing better, and I'm not beating myself up for it. I was just like, okay, so put that on the list of things to pay attention to, right? Because it's important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So anyways, so that was like, okay, note to self, getting some things right and can do better on others.
Right. There's always going to be, you're always going to be a work in progress.
But I think that what I'm finding different since we started Good Fat Life is it's not about beating myself up.
Mm-mm.
It's like, okay,
And when you're ready to hear something, you hear it and you do it. When you're not, you don't, right? Because like, especially during the pandemic and the shutdown and everything, everybody was like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And I'm like, oh, I should clean out my closet and do the things I never did. And I'm never going to do those things. I just like, if I didn't do them before, I'm not going to do them. And there's a reason why, and it's okay.
It's okay. Yeah. And there's people out there that are brilliant at it.
Yeah.
Right? So they're really good at it. And I'll put out there that I want to find those people, and then when they show up, that's what we'll do.
Right. And that's another thing I've learned from Good Fat Life is that if you don't know, somebody else does. And we've talked about this before. If you want to do something and you don't know how to do it, you just need to find somebody that can give you the first thing and just move to the next thing and the next thing, like the ladder. Find somebody that has a ladder.
That has a ladder. And we all have our brilliance, right? And it would be so boring if everybody was the same piece of the puzzle, because we could, there's no puzzle. Right. There's no point of a puzzle.
Right.
Yeah. So the joy kind of comes in like, oh.
Yeah. And what makes me happy is we get to see it in real time, in real life, in our community and in our magazine and on our podcast. Like, how lucky are we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sherri's favorites.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
They are my favorites. So,
and of course, several of them come from London Beauty, our favorite store.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I just can't wait to wash my face, to use these oils, because they are fabulous. And I love this picture of just after a fun gathering. One of my friends took this picture. It just feels good, right? It's just taking that little moment and enjoying. And blind date with a book box. I mean, for those of us that love to read, that is such a cool thing.
Yeah.
So anyways, so that's there. And then Thai Zoodle bowl.
That sounds delicious.
It is delicious.
Whose recipe is that?
It's by the Freedom Kitchen.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So
we love
Lisa
the Freedom Kitchen. Yeah.
And I love the work they're doing.
Yeah.
Right? Just
incredible.
Really
changing minds about food.
About
behavior.
Food, behavior and
children, the way they think about it. Yeah.
And she does amazing cooking classes with kids, and just the whole attitude of, going back to whole sustainable foods that reinforce the planet we live on, right? As well as our bodies. So, and plus this is delicious. December self-care. There again, there's some really cool stuff in here. All good ideas.
Sometimes when you're feeling down, especially in the winter, like you just need a little bit extra, somebody else to say something, especially if you're like, people that go through depression and stuff, sometimes you just need somebody to go like, why don't you try whatever, Yeah. Because you just don't know where to start. So maybe that's for a place for somebody to start if they're looking to do something,
To do,
just
lots
move
of
forward.
Lots of just little good ideas, and it's like, oh, I could do each one of these and love it, right? So, Be Social, Be Festive, and Gather by Damon Johnson. So this is also just a cool reminder too, of physical.
Yeah.
Physical.
Yeah.
Damon is such a source of, I don't know. Everybody who meets him just loves him immediately, right? But he's brilliant at physical fitness and feeling good in our bodies. Yeah. So he had some great suggestions there. Bitters for better fat digestion. So,
I did not know this. You always, I always get surprised by one food article in the magazine, and this surprised me. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had been working with Samantha Gardner for a couple of years, and I was really surprised after I read this about how much of what she taught me about bitters I had incorporated that I didn't realize that I had incorporated. So it really does make a difference in how you digest your food and your fat and absorption and all of those things. And in retrospect, it's not hard to do.
No, and it turns out when they say everything you need is in nature and everything you need you already have, like there's a reason why all these foods work together and bitters do a certain thing and good fats do a certain thing. Turns out, right?
Right.
Yeah.
There's nothing accidental about it. And it's, just with some little tweaks, we can make a whole difference in how our body works, which means how we feel.
And
right?
you don't even have to spend a lot of money or anything. Just very, very limited.
I mean,
easy.
olives.
Yeah.
Olives. Coffee is on this, right?
There you go. Yeah.
There you go. So all kinds of stuff. So what I did is I have this list of foods that I want to, I just like to eat, a good list of foods. And so I cross-referenced it now. I've just highlighted what's a bitter just to be sure, additional support in getting it, be sure I get it in every meal.
Yeah. You are always, you've got so many things going on. You got the Weight Watchers, you got the vegetables, you got the good fats. Like, I don't know. It's probably like a whole thing. You have to go through a glossary before you eat.
Well, but the part that I'm loving is, and I'm certainly not there and it's not perfect. It's a work in process. And it's
And you're so
fun.
proud of yourself.
And
I'm so proud of you too.
And I'm
yeah.
having fun. And anyways, you know, it's just makes the day kind of bright. And, you know, like you heard the thing, you know, by Einstein, every day is either a miracle or it's not.
Yeah. And it helps you feel like you're more in control of things, right? Like
Right.
just doing little things like this.
Or
yeah.
it can be kind of an adventure.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, how do I get bitters into every meal? Well, here's your guide, right?
There you go.
Right? So, oh my gosh. This
Yeah.
article.
I love that article.
Our money therapy one is on transforming family traditions around money. It's around the holidays. It's tradition. But there's a couple things going on here. And Lori Burns, who had written about a process that her dad does, the Crispies, right?
The letter.
The $100 Crispies. So each family member gets a crisp $100, but they also get a letter. And it's the letter over time that is the priceless part. And it's timeless. And
I think I'm going to do that for my kids this year.
well, and I got a journal for each of my grandkids and just started taking notes of when they do things.
Oh, that's
you know,
sweet.
that I could just remember when it came to write their Christmas letter. But there's a couple things, but what it does is it makes it easy to budget for the holidays, right? And it doesn't have to be $100. It could be a $20. It could be $5.
Yeah.
The monetary piece is secondary. It's the letter. And that somebody took the time to tell you from their heart what they just noticed and loved and appreciate about you.
Yeah, that's worth $1 million right there.
I mean, it is, and then it's also a great way to keep you on budget for the holidays, and so you're not feeling compelled like you have to buy all this stuff that nobody's going to really care about. You know, when the next holiday comes around.
Yeah.
But and I think for me, the gatherings, we've talked about this, is for some reason my ancestors, who they were, what they thought about, what they cared about, has become so much. I would just really would like to know so much more.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Yeah. When you get older, I think you want to know more about that.
Right.
Yeah, why you are the way you are. Yeah.
And yeah, exactly. So where this interest in fashion came from, or gardening, or you know, what did they care about? And I mean, I love reading history about other people, and it's like, well, wait a minute.
That's another thing we've been fortunate enough to learn from some of our guests. They've talked about how they're there with their ancestors standing along with them. And I thought, wow, how powerful and strong. You know, and I've thought of that when I've gone through some hard times, like, wait, my grandma showed up, 4 kids, no sponsor from, you know, you're like, these are the people I'm standing on the backs of. Like, that's amazing when you think about that. Like, all the strength that brought you here today, all the people. Yeah.
It is. It's so humbling. It's mind-boggling, and it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Right?
And it makes you, realize like, oh, that's why I like that. Yeah.
And
why.
and I've kind of been noticing, like, the stories, the historical stories, that so many of the stories are about ordinary people, right? They're people that are no different from your family or my family, but we just don't know our family stories.
Yeah. Right.
Like you might read, you know, a book that's written about other people's stories.
Yeah. But we
So,
just don't know ours. Yeah.
We just don't know ours. So anyways, this is kind of like a long way of saying that this family tradition ticks so many boxes, right?
Yeah.
So, and then there's the chocolate avocado mousse pudding recipe.
That sounds delicious.
Delicious,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You can eat that for breakfast.
Yeah, you totally could. Anything with avocados in it, you can eat anytime. We'll just say that now.
Yeah, we'll say that.
Yeah.
And then, about the podcast.
Yeah.
The reading room. Oh my gosh. Each one of these books are just life-changing in and of themselves. I will just say that. They go from Time is Cows, a colleague who's a yoga teacher, a meditation teacher. She's a PhD and an anthropologist, and she spent 10 years with the Mousse tribe in Africa. And the things they have to teach are just mind-boggling.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fascinating book. The Fountain of Youth
Mm-hmm.
is another fascinating book on just some simple 5 exercises you can do a day that keep you youthful and your body engaged and activated. And then the Diabetes Solution, Dr. Bernstein's. There are things in here that I've had diabetes doctors tell me they had never known before. This book is so well researched and thorough, and the part I liked about it, I read it too. The part I like about it, and I use it as a resource, is it's so accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can read it. It's not like you're reading,
Stereo instruction. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or about diabetes, because it doesn't seem like I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't seem like a fascinating topic.
But the part that makes the part that's so interesting in this book, it's not about the diabetes, it's about how our body works.
Yeah.
How do our hormones and insulin work in our body? And he puts it in a way it's like, oh my gosh, I get that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it makes it easier to make choices, food choices or movement choices or whatever, sleep choices.
Yeah, based on
something that I can relate to.
Mm-hmm.
So
going back to the first book, though, I think it's fascinating too. Another thing that we're so fortunate is we're meeting people that work with tribes in Africa. And just like the expansion of that, so lovely. You always meet the most interesting people, and it's just been so gratifying, fulfilling. We just keep, everywhere we turn, we just keep meeting
people. So that said,
Yeah.
why don't you talk about Mana?
Oh yeah, Mana boxes. That's one of our favorite companies. MK, she started this company. It's called Mana. It's 1,800 women in South Africa, correct?
Families, yeah. Women.
And they hand make crafts. They recycle things, and these boxes are sold, subscription boxes and gifts to help keep them out of poverty during COVID, and to further bring them out of poverty and help them maintain their lifestyle in their tribes. And it's a beautiful philosophy where they pray for you and you pray for them. And the mana is like good karmas in every piece. And they're lovely, lovely items.
Right. And they are now selling them individually.
Mm-hmm. And on Etsy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so it makes it an easy way and how to learn more.
And everything they make is thoughtful. Like, for instance, they bought the fence that Nelson Mandela saw outside of his prison cell, and they made rings and necklaces out of it. Yeah. So they do really thoughtful, beautiful things that help sustain their families and their community, and they're beautiful gifts. And Sherri, you get the subscription, and so much fun when you open them.
It is. It's fun to open. So, and it's also just fun to know that, and it's not like a hand, this is not charity.
Mm-hmm.
This is supporting women, doing what they do beautifully, because they're beautiful artisans,
mm-hmm.
And giving them the opportunity to support their families and to teach their kids, and to provide just a better life for everyone.
And also, and they've been doing thought-provoking things. They've been making things out of recycled COVID mask, and like isn't it their overnight bag is made out of COVID mask? I think it's recycled out of mask. Yeah. So they're recycling. The whole program is very thought through for the environment and for the future and for tribes. So thank you, MK, for Mana boxes. Yeah.
So, and then of course, our back cover is hands-on help Chiropractic,
Yeah.
which we adore.
Yeah.
Right?
One of our sponsors. Yeah.
We say, actually, we should do a celebration dance for having them in our life, right?
Yeah.
Right? We could be dancing all day.
Yeah.
So anyways,
So there you have it.
there you have it. The new issue. And anyway, I have to say, I'm just over the moon.
Yeah, I am too. And this year, I think is going to be full of fun surprises from us. And I just look forward to it. And we're going to have lots more events and we're going to have an ambassador program, right?
Right. And the 60 Happy.
60 Happy. And
yeah.
so much more to come.
Yeah. Yeah. We have some really cool kinds of fun things in our ambassador program.
Mm-hmm.
Which
so you guys look for information.
We'll be announcing in the next couple weeks. Right?
Yeah. And also today we're going to an event because if you are in the Heartland Chamber, Sherri is running for a board seat, correct? Right? Yeah. Yep. So if you are in the Heartland Chamber and you are at the Fire and Flannel today, vote for Sherri.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, she will make a great board member. She will lead us and lead Heartland into the future and expand our community. And she is the girl for the job. I am Sherri's 100% behind Sherri Richards for the board seat at Heartland Chamber. So don't forget.
Thanks, Karen. I appreciate that. But one of the things I'm really excited about is that, the leadership of the future is not about having the leader and a hierarchy, right?
No.
It's not anymore. It's about
tribes, right?
It's about tribes and collaboration and helping each person show up with their best thing and putting it together.
That's why you're the right person for the job. You're saying it more articulate than I am.
I
there you go.
But anyways,
true,
we've had a big day. We've got so much to celebrate.
Yeah, so I think it's time to go off and live our good fat life, and we'll be back next week, and hopefully next week I'll be sitting here with a board member.
Whatever.
Yeah.
This, I like to say this
or something better, right?
right. So anyways, so thanks. Oh, and if you want to find out where to get your copy of Good Fat Life, you can go to goodfatlife.com or what's the...
you can click on our QR code if it comes up, or you can go to just www.goodfatlife.com and get your digital subscription. There we go.
There's a QR code.
Yeah.
And so anyways, all right.
All right. Thanks, guys.
See ya.